Look, your favorite.
You know, your dog doesn't really care if the TV is on. When you think about it, saving energy means saving money. That's why Georgia Power has tips, tools, and rebates to help you be more efficient. For smart, easy ways to save money and energy, visit georgiapower.com.
Good morning and welcome to our Town Hall Forum, a program from the Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce. We are happy to present this important update sponsored by our wonderful friend, Georgia Power, to provide great information to our membership and community. I'm delighted to welcome our distinguished guest speaker, Rob Betzel, the 2021 Greater Macon Chamber Chairman. Rob has been an entrepreneur since he was 24 years old when he founded Infinity Network Solutions. He was the CEO for Infinity for over 19 years before selling to Hargray Communications in 2019. He now operates Grit Consulting, which focuses on helping other entrepreneurs get what they want from their businesses. Rob has been invested in the entrepreneurial community since taking part in the founding of Spark Macon and the first Smart Maker Space in Middle Georgia, and more recently was a founding member of the Macon Startup Week. Rob has served on many local community boards, including the Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce, Georgia College and State University Foundation, Georgia College and State University School of Business Advisory Board, the Mercer University Innovation Center, Historic Macon, and Spark Macon. He is a wonderful angel investor in the community, joined with the Central Piedmont Investment Group, and he is focused on all the things that are needed for Middle Georgia entrepreneurs. Rob lives in Macon with his wife, Jessie, and their 2 daughters. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Yvonne. So welcome to everybody for coming out, whether you're watching this live or on demand. As we get started, I want to first thank our 2020 chairperson, Julia Magda, her board, and the chamber staff, and specifically our president, Yvonne, for all the amazing work they did last year on behalf of our membership and our business community. Today, I want to give you guys a high-level overview of our plan of work for 2021. But before I do that, I want to remind you of some work that was done in 2020 that I think will enable the chamber to serve our membership and the community even more effectively for years to come. In 2020, under the leadership of our council, Patrick Goff, a working group took an in-depth review of our governance structure and our bylaws. After listening to input from a broad cross-section of the membership, our governance structure has been changed to put the focus, the power, and the work of leading our chamber back into the main board body. No longer will there be a meeting before the meeting with the executive committee. All matters of importance are now decided exclusively by the 21-person board that's elected to represent our membership, done in council with those ex officio members and invited guests. The executive committee now serves as it should, as a small council for the chair and the president with limited voting power. As always, I want to invite all of our members to attend a board meeting to listen and learn how the chamber is operating on their behalf. It's how I first got involved with the chamber, and I'm excited to be the first chair under this new structure that our 2020 board put in place for us. I believe this change is going to bring broader debate and transparency to everything we do on behalf of our membership. In January, we held a strategic work session led by the 2021 vice chairs, Mr. Andrew Eck for membership, Mrs. Andy Mitchell for government and military affairs, Mrs. Ivy Hall for programming, and our 2022 incoming chair and vice chair of Greater Macon Works, Dr. Ivan Allen. We also had leading our finance and operations area focus, Scott Siegel, our 2021 treasurer. I want to thank each of them for being willing to serve with me this year, as we have a lot of work to do. The committees work with the staff members who oversee or are greatly aligned with the areas that they were focusing on this year. And the outcomes, I believe, will enable each chair and the committees to provide guidance and assistance to the amazing staff that we have to have that are working on our 2021 program of work. We charged ourselves with creating a narrowly focused effort on critical items for 2021. As we know, there's much work that still needs to be done as we recover and accelerate out of the COVID pandemic. We want to focus on the core areas of the chamber, which, as I constantly say, are to connect, to educate, to advocate, and to accelerate for our members. This foundation, along with the beginning of undertaking the Greater Macon Workforce Platform, We'll be a tall order in any year, and we'll be in a taller order this year. But I think this group of volunteer leaders and our staff are up for the challenge. We worked to narrow our focus in each area to 3 SMART objectives. And that wasn't easy for this amazing group of high achievers who, like I, believe that there's so much potential and impact the Chamber can have for our members in our community. Not to mention the fact that Yvonne is passionate and our staff is dedicated to everything we're doing on behalf of the membership. But we settled on what we believe will allow us in our 12 short months to move the ball forward on a number of initiatives that are good not only for 2021, but for the future, while leaving room to respond to the needs of our membership and the community as they always do each year. For membership under Andrew's guidance, we plan to undertake a review of the value proposition for all members to ensure that we're delivering services that matter and propose those changes that are necessary to the board to consider and possibly move forward on. Membership is also going to be working to improve how we bring new members into the fold so that we ensure that we're properly engaging new members in that most critical time of membership. Andrew and his committee will also be spending time working closely with our ambassadors program to determine how best to enable these amazing volunteers we have to even more fully engage our members in all 4 of our core areas. Government Military Affairs is going to be focused on working with our new mayor, Mr. Mayor Miller, on programming reform to make Macon an even better and easier place to do business. They understand the need to spend time advocating locally, at the state level, and is needed nationally. While we're not currently engaged in a BRAC, keeping our relationship strong with Robbins will always be a key effort for this committee. Mrs. Ivy Hall, working with our programming committee, is looking to define the purpose and value of each program and event we undertake so that we can better measure return on each year going forward. We plan to work to evaluate how we execute each program of work in 2021 as we continue to work towards a return to our preferred level of face-to-face interaction. I'm certain we will all be happy the day we can get back together and celebrate and engage with each other in a way other than Zoom. The committee is also going to be doing long-term review of our Macon Matters and Taste of Macon programs to determine how we support our local state delegation and also how we engage them on behalf of our membership effectively. In finance and operations, we've identified several areas we want to focus on in 2021. We believe these are critical for the long-term success of the Chamber. The first is to implement a budgeting process that delivers a timely and accurate financial plan each year for the board to review and approve. The second is to do a review of our due structure. The model we've been using for dues has been around for many, many years, and there are newer and more compelling models available that we could believe might benefit all members of all sizes. This review will be done, and the findings will be presented to the board in 2021 for consideration. The third area is ensuring that the vice chairs and the board as a whole have the right reporting to provide timely and critical guidance that ensures we are being fiscally smart. While we'll always be a member-driven organization at our core, I saved the most promising and important piece for last. Under Dr. Allen's leadership, our Greater Macon Works program will focus on workforce development and how to connect us as employers to the potential candidates in the most effective and efficient manner. We all know that employees are the lifeblood of our businesses and our community as a whole. In partnership with our local K-12 school systems and institutions of higher education, we plan to ensure that those students can see the careers available and the skills required so that we can employ even more of our homegrown talent. But the program won't stop there. Since this is a digital platform accessible by anyone looking to understand careers in Macon, it'll serve as yet another attraction and evaluation point for businesses and individuals far and wide. I challenge each and every one of you listening to this today to reach out to the Chamber and determine how you can take advantage of this incredible opportunity to further grow your employee base and skills. Now, again, none of this work is possible or even valuable without you, the members, our sponsors, and our volunteers. So again, I want to thank you for allowing myself and our 2021 board the opportunity to serve you. I also challenge you to step up and engage to the maximum level you can to gain a return on your investment in our Chamber. With that, I'm going to turn the program over to Ms. Julia Magda to see if there are any questions we might want to discuss.
Thank you, Rob. It's great to be here today with you, and I wish you the best success in your year as chairman of the Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce. It was mentioned in your bio that you have a heart for startups. So what will the chamber do to educate and encourage new startups so that they choose Macon-Bibb County as the base for their new adventure?
So I think we began that under your leadership, Julia, last year. I think we pivoted, to a digital platform in partnership with SCORE that is allowing us to bring great content very timely to our members in the community at large that are small businesses predominantly. I think that the chamber, as it's done for many years, and I appreciate the investment, will continue to be both interested and involved in programs like Macon Startup Week, the Mercer Innovation Center. I think the chamber will continue to evaluate how, under the One Macon plan and the pillars that we have responsibility for, how we continue to help foster the next generation of business. And I think it's going to be a case where we have to make really tough decisions about where we lead and where we support. And I think that's a great opportunity because we do have incredible partners in this area like Newtown Macon, SCORE, the SBDC, and even Smart Macon. So I'm excited to see how much more we can do while we stay focused on the core of our membership.
One of the pillars of the chamber is to be advocates for our members and for the larger community, the business community. How can we do that creatively and increase awareness of what the chamber does in that lane of advocacy and our success in that regard?
I think like many organizations, we heard it just recently in the Industrial Authority's strategic plan review about our need to tell our stories better. And I think that is community wide. We do a lot of talking about where we aren't successful. I think we could do a better job of saying where we are. I think as somebody who ran a small business for years, advocacy was one of the most difficult things for me to wrap my mind around, because many times I didn't see it affect my direct pocketbook. But not having a chamber representing all of our businesses and our best interest when it comes to what government does and doesn't do to help support us is critical. I think we have to remain engaged. I've been blessed to have conversations, obviously, with our delegation of late to better understand what they need from us. And I think that when you look at what Ivy Hall will be doing this year and what Andy Mitchell will be doing, I think we'll continue to do things like evaluate support of local ordinances. But again, I think it's a case where we have to tell our story better and more frequently, because many times we presume people know it. And, again, we're all busy. And so it's a storytelling thing we need to do.
So you mentioned your 4 vice chairs that will serve, and obviously the larger board. Is there a way that members or employees of our members can get involved on these committees in these work groups?
Absolutely. Many hands makes light work. And so what I would say is that as we modified the bylaws to put the work back in the main board and really to at the members' request, activate them to be more engaged. And so my challenge, each of my vice chairs, was to gather a group of interested and engaged individuals from across the membership, not just the board members. This is the committees can be served on by any member and any employee of any member to the better good. And I think that what I would challenge our members to look at is saying, where could I gain connection? Where can I bring impact? And where can I ultimately gain value and connection? As somebody who's been blessed to be on the board for a number of years working for a small business, my network grew because of my service. And I think that is the thing I would say is let's have everybody, whether it's the ambassadors program, or whether it's by being on membership, if you're interested in government, military affairs, whether you're interested in, I think we've been blessed to have people step up and offer their times and service in a way that we all know is a great investment. Julia, more than anybody, the sacrifice of time for service. And again, I think that's something we need to continue to ask new, different, and in my preference, younger members to step up and ask to be part of what we're doing.
What do you see? People talk about returning to normal after COVID. What do you see the landscape of the chamber being once we can safely return to in-person events?
I think we're always gonna be at core a membership organization, right? We're becoming more mission driven. The Greater Macon workforce platform is going to be something I think will benefit us in a very long term way. But ultimately, we all want to be able to get back together. But I don't think it's a returning to normal. I think it will be a way we move forward. I think we will always want to create hybrid programs. How do we ensure that the things we do make impact, not just in the moment, but long term. And so I think we will continue to look at, under our marketing team sort of direction, they're constantly looking for how do we improve these programs. I'm so amazed at what Kathy and Heather are doing for us to say, hey, we could do this better, differently. And so I think we'll constantly ask, how do we do that? Because we may be late this year before we begin gathering in a way that's greater than a handful of people that isn't inside of a screen to each other.
Yeah. How will the chamber help to connect minority-owned businesses or female-owned businesses to educational programs, business growth opportunities that are in the community and beyond throughout Central Georgia?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think it's just being mindful of it. We can't presume and assume. I think we have to ask questions with a listen. I've had a number of my friends in the entrepreneurial space, challenge some of the way I think about how we bring, content to those areas and who should be, the voice and the face for that. And so I think it starts by being mindful at the board level. We very intentionally, I was very impressed with our, committee that was the nominating committee that was purposeful in evaluating the chamber board this year. And I think we'll do it going forward. How do we ensure it most diversely represents our community so that we have the most voices in the room? But I think bringing education, we have incredible education partners in our community. It's a matter of highlighting it. Our job isn't always to do. Sometimes it's just to connect. And I'll challenge us to say, where can we connect people to already in place organizations and efforts that let them get what they need to grow their business?
If you were trying to recruit a new member to the chamber, a small business in particular, since you're a small business, how would you sell it?
I think it starts with the idea that says, you cannot stand on an island yourself. I don't care whether your customers are local or at a distance. We have a lot of businesses that do not sell directly. And I think I would challenge the small business to say, well, you need a network. You need to connect with people that can help you grow. And I think that comes from the membership and the connection that the chamber just brings by nature. So I think first off, it's we connect each other together. We make it so that we can gain relationships beyond the transaction. I think the education that we provide and that we connect people to from organizations nationally and statewide it's a great way to consolidate that into a single path versus having to hunt it down yourself. So using the chamber as the filter for what's timely and critical for a business of my size. So leveraging that part of the membership. I think the advocacy is the toughest thing for small business. I mean, again, it's amazing, it's amazing how much of it does impact us. And I was always shocked by how much I realized, but I think that, being aware of what is it that we're working against. I mean, we all know that we want to make it easier to do business and make it as easy as we possibly can. And I know Mayor Miller's talked greatly about the idea of how does he make it easier for us to engage in that. And I think that's part of our advocacy. Let's figure out how we work with our local government to assess and manage what we have to, but enable business to come along faster. And then I think the acceleration side, quite frankly, is something that people will gain just by being there. If you're present, my business is better for each relationship I ever built coming out of every organization, every meeting I attended, every room I got in, to where I could talk to somebody in a way that I already had a standing bond. So I would tell the member, we're going to create more and better ways for them to promote their business and connect, but we're also going to challenge them to be present. Many businesses get busy doing what they do and sometimes forget to step out and work on the business and not in it. And so that's what I would challenge people to say, this is an on the business type value, not an in the business.
We've got a lot of businesses that are hurting due to COVID. Some who may be on the fence about staying in the chamber. Is your message the same about why you should join the chamber, or what do you say to those hurting businesses?
I think businesses have to evaluate where they spend their precious resource, their time and their dollars, right? They're the time and treasure, the most important thing small business has. And I think that, at the end of the day, if you get too insulated, you lose that connection. And I think at a local level, the organizations like the chamber provide for that. And so I get it. It's always an evaluation, but, as a critical thinker and really under the challenge that we gave Andrew and the membership committee, we have to make sure we're bringing the right value to each membership size and level. And our membership is predominantly small business. The thing I'll tell our small businesses, though, is our chamber is greatly funded currently by our larger sponsorship businesses. So I want us to be mindful that it takes all members. But I get it. If people are struggling, I think that's where the advocacy comes in. And I think this is where the benefit to business, even if you're not a member, happens. Yvonne has spent a significant portion of 2020 advocating at the state and the federal level for PPP, for what is the right way for us to have our businesses supported and our organization supported. And I think whether you're a member or not, that benefit becomes yours because we're doing it on behalf of membership. But I do think that, you have to ask yourself, what if the chamber didn't exist? How would we as a community be at a voice? And so your membership in a great degree is putting an organization in place that is standing ready to support all of us in times of need. And that's what I think under your leadership and under Yvonne's leadership last year, we spent a significant part of 2020 doing just that.
If you have to go, let me know. I just have lots of questions. But
I'll keep answering.
What are your thoughts on talent, retention, and attraction to Make and Bib? I know that's a big part of Making Works, and we have so many students come to school here. We have great students coming up through our K-12 system, public and private, and homeschool. So what are your thoughts about the chamber's role for that?
Well, I think that it's funny. We aren't going to educate them. That's clearly not our job. But we have incredible organizations that are doing that, at each level of education. Our job is to partner with them. I think that's where my involvement with Georgia College has always come back to the fact that I've always believed the asset that they create for us, you can either be present and help them create the one you want, or you can accept what they give you. And I think where the chamber's stepping in now is saying we're going to work to be the conduit between the student that wants a job when they graduate and the employer who wants the person who's properly trained both in direct skill and indirect skill. And so I think that what we're working towards with a workforce platform supports that connectivity. It doesn't mean we have to go out and educate them, but it does mean we empower our businesses to be more aware. But I think also it's part of telling the story. This goes back to our storytelling. I have a lot of young people come to me from one of the universities and say, well, I'm thinking about moving to Atlanta. I'm thinking about moving to another city for a job. Why should I stay? And I remind them that, Macon has an incredible history of empowering young people to do great work. And so if you want to make an impact on culture and on the community, stay in Macon. If you just want to consume culture and just be part of a consumption mentality, move to a big city. Up there, no one will care about you. You're not going to be given and afforded the opportunity to grow as fast as you will in Macon-Bibb County. And so my challenge through workforce planning is that we tell that part of the story better. We make sure that every business of every size can properly advocate for what they need in their next employee. I struggle for years with having to hire people not local. But at the same time, again, the world is flat now. Technology's changed things. But at the end of the day, we are still a great community to live and work and ultimately grow your family and play. So I think this is the right long-term mission for the chamber to undertake, because it allows us to serve our members while we partner with, our regional commissions, our government, and our businesses. And we're going to be the connecting point for this solution. And we know it's working because we've already have people who've stepped in to be supportive, whether it's, Mercer Innovation Center, Mercer Resource Center, whether it's our industrial authority, whether it's any of our other employers who've already stepped in and said, I want to use the platform or I want to invest in the platform. We know we're solving a problem with that.
Were you ever an intern for anyone or extern?
I was before that was a cool thing to do. I didn't know that's what I was doing. I'm so old that we didn't call it that. I'm not sure what we called it, but I did have the pleasure of having someone invite me in as a very young, green know-it-all and spend time becoming an older, less green know-it-all. But I think internships are an incredible asset, the businesses and the students. Again, Georgia College, that's my alma mater. That's where I spent my time. When we ran Infinity, we had at least one intern in our business at all times, if not 3 or 4. And we saw it as two things. It was our returning to those future employees a value because we benefited from that university, from what I was able to learn, but also as an evaluation of talent pipeline. I had about 25% of our interns stayed as employees, because that was an intentional plan for us. And so it was able to bring in talent, it was able to help them become, help bring that skill, the soft skill to them we needed. But ultimately, I think with the workforce platform, we're back to giving people the ability to see that, and hopefully interns come more prepared. So yeah, I think internships, it can be as simple or as complicated as you want to make it. Many businesses avoid it because they feel it's difficult to do. I think it's an investment that both pays you back dividends in your business directly, and quite frankly, in your heart and soul, because you gave somebody an experience that they'll take with them wherever they go.
Do you remember how you got introduced to the Greater Macon Chamber of Commerce?
It was probably back when we had someone who knocked on doors selling memberships, and I like many people joined probably somewhat out of okay, well, they'll help me get more business, which is not that's not how it works. And a little bit of civic debt. Okay, well, this is what you do. Sort of like the Yellow Pages back in the day. I'm so old, I remember the Yellow Pages. We all had Yellow Page ads, and we didn't want them. But I think what I was afforded by people was room to be present, involved. Again, I remember the first time I sat in a board meeting and questioned how I got in the room, and I still question how I got in the room many times. But I think that it's a case where there are, we as leaders need to bring along the next generation of leaders, and that's from our membership. And again, I'm proud of the youth and the breadth of our members at the board level this year. And I know, again, when I first came in, it was for that they'll help promote my business. No, they'll help me promote my business. And so that was probably the biggest thing I spent 5 years learning more clearly, is that it's my job to take the resources and maximize what I got out of them. And we ultimately did. We ultimately, for our membership of the chamber, grew our business.
I can keep going, but I think that's probably a good place to let you catch your breath.
Fantastic. Well, again, Julie, I thank you for all the work you've done, and I thank you for the continued counsel that I will get as you being my past chair, which is the greatest seat on a board, right? It's the one you get to sit quietly and snarkle at me for the whole year. But I'm grateful for that, and again, I'm grateful for Yvonne giving me the chance to talk with everybody today. I hope that this gives people clarity on what we're doing, and I'd welcome every member that has a concern or question to reach out to the chamber, stop me and let me know what we can do. We're not going to solve everything in the world this year. Yvonne and I said we're going to do several things well, and we're going to let other years do other things that we can't get to. So it won't be everything, but it will be the most critical things as we've sort of outlined them as a board this year.
Thank you.
Well, I want to say thank you to Julia and Rob. I mean, this chamber is so well served with chamber champions like the both of you and the other board members who are serving. You certainly bring integrity, passion, and leadership to our community from a 160-year platform of leaders that have served this chamber. We're just so fortunate that the tradition goes on. And I want to remind all of our members, listen to what Rob said about membership. Look to your chamber to be your resource. Join us this year. Be a part of our program. Look forward to our resources. Check our website out. Make sure you're engaging and you're connecting, because this is going to be a great 2021. We're going to survive out of COVID. We're going to reprogram. We're going to reboot and make our relevance known to the community. So we invite you, and we certainly welcome you as members, and want to say a big thank you for your continued support. This program will be posted as a recording, so it will be available. If you weren't able to check us out this morning, you can certainly view it at another time, and we invite you to share this with your employees. Have a wonderful Friday and be safe.
Thanks, everybody.